Hi viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel. Here is a great quote from the Nobel laureate, a great Indian poet, Rabindranath Tagore. The highest education is that which does not merely give us information but makes our life in harmony with all existence. India is a country of religions where we find the people of all religions live in harmony. You can find a masjid, a temple, a church, gurudwara and a basdi where people all have gathered together worshipping their deity and they all live together. With our earlier thought of Rabindranath Tagore's, education is not only providing us information, it also helps us to live in harmony with our existence. With that thought, let us move on to the topic of discussion today. Great poet, leave this chanting and telling of beads. This is the poem I have for discussion today. Leave this chanting and telling of beads is the 11th poem in the Gitanjali, a collection of poems which got Nobel Prize. Further, Rabindranath Tagore, 1861 to 1941, he has given us the national anthem as well as he has initiated Shanti Niketan, a university living in nature, in harmony with nature. Let's see what he has to tell in his poem, Leave this chanting and telling of beads. And here is the poem, Leave this chanting by Rabindranath Tagore. Leave this chanting and singing and telling of beads. This happens to be the first line as well as the title of the poem. But the poet is addressing to the devotees. Leave this chanting and singing and telling of beads, chanting, the holy sermons, shlokas, hymns and all that. Leave this singing and telling of beads. You can find a picture where devotees have gathered in a temple as well as the beads, holy, that rosary and that rudraksh and all. What the poet directly is addressing the devotees. What he is telling, very first line itself, the poet is very sure about what he is trying to tell and he is conveying directly a very important, he is driving home a point. What is that? Leave the chanting, singing and telling of beads. Very interesting. Directly the poet is addressing the reader as well as the devotees. Further, does you, Old English, whom does you worship in this lonely dark corner of a temple with doors all shut? So the poet is directly once again further as the instruction continues, he is talking to all those devotees who have gathered in a temple in a lonely corner. What he is telling, whom does you worship in this lonely corner, in the sanctum sanctorium, inside the temple, where you all feel that God exists. Corner of a temple with the doors all shut, you come out of it. The poet is directly giving us a message. What is that? Further, open thine eyes, open your eyes and see your God is not before you. So all Old English, very interesting. In the first stanza, very important thought is being conveyed by Rabindranath Tagore. Open your eyes and see your God is not before you. So straight away the poet is addressing to all those devotees who are gathered inside the sanctum sanctorium with holy rosary, rudraksh and worshipping, chanting, singing and all that. The poet is directly talking to those devotees, come out of the temple. See, look, open your eyes and see your God is not before you. Your God is not existing inside the temple. Directly the poet is addressing the devotees here. Moving further in the second stanza, the first stanza's thought of leave this chanting and telling of the beads, open your eyes, God is not there. Further, the poet is addressing once again to all the devotees, the followers. He is where the tiller is tilling the hard ground and where the path maker is breaking the stones. So now the poet is very clear about what he is trying to tell. He, God. So naturally a question comes in the mind of the reader. If God is not there inside the temple, inside the mass, church, where is he? So the poet himself has asked a question and he himself is answering the question. What is that? He is there where the tiller is tilling the hard ground. Okay, and where the path maker is breaking the stones. Path maker, tiller, a farmer tilling the land, a path maker, he is breaking the stones and the hard labor, the dignity of labor is being highlighted. So the poet is making the reader clarity in his thoughts. What is that? He is where. He means the God is where the tiller is tilling the hard ground, plus and where the path maker is breaking the stones. So look at the God who is not inside the temple and he has come out of the temple and he is with the workers, the farmers who is tilling the land. Moving further, he is with them in sun and shower, and his garment is covered with dust. So the dust where the labor is working on the hard ground as well as the farmer. So with the dust, God exists with them. Put off your holy mantle and even like him, come down on the dusty soil. So now it is very clear in the second stanza what the poet is highlighting here. He is directly addressing the followers of God and also the devotees. What he is telling, put off your holy mantle. Whatever you are thinking that, inside the temple with that holy and all divine, instead of searching God, come out of it, even like him. God himself has left the temple and come down on the dusty soil. You like the God who has already left the temple and he has come out and he is already with the workers, the farmer and the tiller who is tilling the land. God is with them in their with the dust as well as in that sun and shower, rain as well as the hot sun. God is with these workers. You also come out of the temple and try to be with the God who is already with the workers. This is what is the highlight of the second stanza. Now, moving further, next stanza, deliverance. Very interesting question. Deliverance. Where is this deliverance to be found? Then the poet has come out with this question, as if the followers or the devotees asking the question, what is that? Deliverance. The concept of salvation from this cycle of birth and death. Deliverance. Where is this deliverance to be found? That is the reason we are all gathered in a temple, masjid, mosque, church, gurudwara, basdis and all. The devotees are asking the question and now the poet likes to answer to that. Deliverance, salvation. So the poet, let us see what answers. So where is this deliverance to be found? So it is almost like a devotee asking the direct question to the poet and poet likes to answer. Let us see what is that. Our master himself has joyfully taken up him the bonds of creation. He is bound with us all forever. Very convincingly the poet makes the readers as well as the devotees his clarification. What is that? Our master, the divine, almighty, the God being the creator, omnipresent, omniscient, our master God himself has joyfully taken up him the bonds of creation. God being the creator, he also know how to give us the salvation part, how to give us the moksha. What is that? He is bound with us all forever. It is not necessary that we have to go in search of God inside a temple and all. What is that? The very interesting line. God, master himself has joyfully taken up the bonds of creation. God is the creator. Being the creator himself, omniscient, omnipresent, he is bound with us all forever. Very interesting line. He is bound with us forever means it is a part and parcel of the Almighty God to give us the deliverance as well as the moksha. Once again, so the hard toil or the work the poet is once again stressing upon and he is making the reader as well as the devotees being convinced with this thought. What is that? Even the deliverance, the salvation part, God has taken on his shoulders. It is not necessary that we have to run behind. Let us focus on the hard work. Let us focus on the day-to-day activities in our present living. That's what the poet is trying to tell. Our master, he himself, being the creator, he is bound with us all forever. He is bound with us. He will be with day in and day out. He will be with us forever and it is his duty to give us the deliverance. Definitely being the creator himself, he will answer to that question also. Okay, deliverance is to be found in our hard work, in our day-to-day labor or day-to-day work. And that's what the poet is focusing here. Now come to the last stanza of this poem where Rabindranath Tagore has more clarity in his approach and make the reader as well as the disciples, followers to understand what is this line of thinking. Let's see. Come out of your meditation. Thy means Old English, your. So come out of your meditations and leave aside your flowers and incense. So incense sticks, we know that it is a part and parcel of our devotion, worshipping. So what the poet is telling, come out of your meditations, blind beliefs, superstitions, meditations and leave aside your flowers and incense. So God never expects any incense sticks or God never expects any flowers to be worshipped. So God is having a different expectations. What is that different expectations? What harm is there if your clothes becomes tattered and stained? So the poet is once again concentrating on the hard work, dignity of labor, the tiller tilling the land as well as the farmer working in a field. So what harm is there? It is a question directly addressed to all the devotees as well as the followers. What harm is there if thy means old English, in modern English your. What harm is there if your clothes become tattered and stained? We can see in our everyday living, the workers, daily wage laborers, their clothes are being tattered as well as stained with dust and all. That is the hard work, the sweat. The poet is telling that in that God exists. In the hardships of our day-to-day living, in the hard work, dignity of labor only God exists. That's what we have to open our eyes and see the God. That's what the poet is meaning here. Meet him and stand by him in toil and in sweat of your brow. Very beautifully the last line. It's a very interesting line and it is the entire bottom line of the entire poem. Meet him. So directly the poet is trying to tell all the devotees, meet him and stand by him. Observe and feel the presence of God. Where is that? Meet him and stand by him in toil and in sweat of your brow. Toil, hard, and the hardships, daily labor, dignity of labor in that, okay? The tiller tilling the land, farmer, all that, okay? And in sweat of your brow. So, in the hard work, in the work, whatever you are doing, the daily work, okay? Whether your clothes may be tattered or stained, whatever maybe it is. So, try to have that work. You need to worship that. Then only God exists. It is not that with incense sticks, sitting in the temple, meditations, God will be that. So very directly, come out of your meditations and leave aside the flowers and incense sticks. So this is a directly, the last stanza, the poet very clearly makes the followers as well as the disciples of God understand that in our day-to-day work, that this picture very symbolically being clear it is in that picture itself. Symbolically the poet is telling that in our hard work, the toil and the sweat of your brow. So with this picture we can understand. So it is in our work, it is in our hands, okay? We can reach God by our work. The work we have considered it as a worship. Then only God exists, and with that God will give us the deliverance also and the salvation also. This is what the poet is trying to tell in the last stanza. To conclude here, to sum up the entire poem, leave this chanting and telling of the beads. Okay, a few thoughts I just compiled with the pictures. I try to highlight once again. Open your eyes and wake up. So it is almost like directly, not only the poet is addressing the reader, he is addressing also the worshippers blindly believing in that path of a religion, that part. So open your eyes and wake up and see the God. Feel the God. Where is God? God is not inside the temple. Then where is he? See the God. He is with the tillers, that is tilling, as well as or breaking the stones, the farmer who is working in the field. So God is not inside the temple. See the God with the hard work, the tilling, breaking stones and all that, God is with them in the sun as well as shower, along with the dust also. So the dust part, that we came from dust and we are returning back to dust also, that part. So God is being the creator. God exists not inside the temple. He is with the hard work, the dignity of labor, the farmers, the tillers and all that. That we have to open our eyes and we have to wake up. It is a very interesting thought. The poet is giving a modern thought in that line. Further, God being the creator, he is the master, the concept of deliverance, the salvation. He being the omniscient, omnipresent, he has created this universe and he also knows how to give us the salvation part. The God being the creator as well as the master, he is bound with us forever. Very beautifully the poet convinces the reader as well as the followers. What is that in the last stanza? God being the creator as well as the master, he is bound with us forever, with us, the children of the God. He will be with us. Definitely, we need not have to worry about the deliverance and all. We need to focus on our day-to-day work, that's all. Then deliverance or the salvation follows. That's what the idea. So finally, the poet is telling us a very interesting one instruction also. Put off your holy mantle. Leave all that meditations. Leave all that prejudiced feelings and all. Put off your holy mantle. Come out. Come out of the temple. Meet and stand by him in this sweat. So meet and stand by the God whom you are worshipping inside the temple, who is not there. He has already left the temples long back, and he has come out and he is with the workers. The workers are tilling the land, the workers breaking the stones, farmers, and making the road and all that. Leave all that holy rosary and telling of the beads and all that. Okay, he is not there at all. Come out, please come out, meet and stand by him. Feel the presence of God with the hard labor, workers, the sweat of your labor. There God exists. God never exists in that meditation part or the incense sticks and all that. This is a direct thought the poet is highlighting in the poem. Leave this chanting and all. Further moving, based on all his interpretations, a few thoughts I try to add on to that. The concept of karma yoga. Even Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita also, he is trying to tell that the concept of karma yoga. Lord Krishna is trying to address Arjuna only one point. What is that? You try to concentrate on the duty. Doing the duty only matters for a human being. Coming to the result or the impact, final, it will be the presence of God. God will look after the result. We have to concentrate only on the duty part. Karma yoga also, Rabindranath Tagore is stressing upon further. The dignity of labor. Okay, we need to give proper respect for all those daily wage laborers, tillers, farmers, and the workers who are breaking the stones and making the street and all that further. So we need to participate our day-to-day life and living. We need to involve ourselves. Then only God, the presence of God, we can feel. So in the work itself, see the omnipresence as well as omnipotence of God we have to feel. This is what the poet is meaning in all these thoughts. Further, we have to feel as well as realize the divinity in the socially useful productive work. So we have to make our life really meaningful by our work. Socially useful productive work. We need to make our work in such a way that people should respect, people should appreciate our honest work. That is the very interesting part, and definitely God exists in that. Further, work, the peace as well as the relationship through work only. What the poet is trying to tell very symbolically, only one thought is stressing upon work. Focus, concentrate on only work. That's all. And with that work, a human being can get peace as well as salvation. The concept of deliverance will definitely follow with the work, honest work. Further, a liberation from the rebirth. That is what the salvation means. Liberation from this cycle of birth as well as the rebirth. Okay. So poet is straight away is telling that God being the creator, he is bound with us forever, no matter what. Only thing is we need to focus on our day-to-day work. Further, and that is the thought. Salvation and liberation will follow if we concentrate on our day-to-day work. And another thought of Lord Basaveshwara, that is Basavanna also, I want to highlight here. Work is worship. He already, long back only he stressed upon that thought. Work is worship. We need to focus on only the work. Work should be our worship. We need to, that is only by our work, we need to reach God. Definitely God will bless us all, and the salvation and deliverance, everything will follow. Same thing even our poet has highlighted in this poem. Well, I just want to highlight a few thoughts here. So Lord Basaveshwara, who gave us the very important thought of work is worship. And moving further, you can find a picture where Rabindranath Tagore is with Albert Einstein, who is also a great intellectual, and Einstein always approved as well as followed the radical thinking, rational thinking, and all, where science has helped him to take almost all his day-to-day decisions. So Albert Einstein as well as Rabindranath Tagore together, they thought of giving a modern way of thinking in our approach, helping us to live better. So with these pictures, that let us try to imbibe the qualities of such great intellectuals in our everyday living also. Further, let us try to reach God in our honest work, respecting the dignity of labor in our day-to-day life. Let our life become more meaningful, and let our work only be our worship, where we will try to reach God. Consider to like and subscribe. Thank you.